Welcome to Winefactory. My name is Tobias and I am sitting at Mure, Mure in Alsace. We are still in Alsace and this is our first stop of the day, the first visit of the day, and we have been out seeing the vineyards, and it's been very interesting to taste some of the wines at Mure. A producer that we tasted back home. You might remember we tasted some of their wines. Now we have gotten a better understanding, a deeper understanding of the producer, and yeah, it has been very interesting. Next to me sits one of the, is it the youngest generation of the family?
Yes, I'm working with my brother Thomas. Yes. I'm Véronique, and our father René is now slightly getting retired.
Right.
Taking over the vineyard.
Super. Yes, sorry, Véronique Mure. Mm-hmm. Yes, and who has been kind enough to show us around and to show us also some of the products we have here. Maybe just a short introduction to the producer as such. When you got started, where we are in Alsace and so on.
So we are a family estate first, because with my brother we are the 12th generation. So that means that the first Mure who grows a vineyard, that was in 1650. Always in the same village, so in Vestalten and in Winefactory.
Which is just down here.
Yeah, it's just the next village. And the best part of our estate today is the Clos Saint-Landelin. It is the wines that we are going to taste. The Clos is a monopole. Clos Saint-Landelin, this is a monopole from our family, and it's 15 hectares. So it is a vineyard. But the whole estate is today 25 hectares, totally in biodynamic vineyard.
Please just touch upon that, that you are biodynamic, and a lot of producers in Alsace are actually biodynamic. When did you become this, and what does it mean to you to be biodynamic?
We begin at the end of the 90s with organic.
Yeah.
So the first step before biodynamics is organic. It means no weed killers, no chemical pesticides. And it means going back to working the soil. So like the generation before, like my great-grandfather, like my grandfather. So that was in the end of the 90s for us. We get certified organic in 99, and we slightly turned to biodynamics little by little, not all the vineyard together in the last 5 years. And so now since 4 years, the whole estate is biodynamics.
So it's still quite new, actually, this trend. Yeah, okay. But very interesting to hear. Have you seen a change in the wines? Maybe not just quality-wise, but just style-wise, perhaps?
In the style, yes. The first step was going back to working the soil, and it means that the wines have more minerality. We feel more minerality. That's the main change that we have seen. So it's not a question of aromas in the wines, not even a question of power in the wine, but more of the minerality you taste, the aftertaste, kind of length and deepness in the wines.
So you do get a more of a sense of place, more of a terroir feel in the wines.
That was why did we turn to organic and after to biodynamic. Was first a question of protecting our environment, our soils, and second, maybe the most important, was to produce wines really showing its terroir. We have Riesling all over the world, or Gewürztraminer all over the world. Our difference is our terroir, is our Clos Saint-Landelin vineyard with clay and limestone soil. So that's that's what we are interested in.
Yeah, of course. And we have tasted some very interesting wines, both sparkling wines, Cremant d'Alsace, and also red Alsace, which is quite new for us. We have tasted, of course, red Alsace before, but it's rare to come across come across a producer which takes it so seriously as you do. You are quite Pinot nerdy about it and or passionate about Pinot Noir, and that's great to see. And we've tasted some really extraordinary red Alsatian wines. Maybe just also talk a bit about that. Pinot Noir, you're planting more and more Pinot Noir. You also have some training in Burgundy, which...
So first, Pinot Noir here in Rouffach was always known. 2 centuries ago, the Rouffach was known for the red wines, not really for the whites.
Okay.
And well, the history of Alsace and the environment gets that we almost forgot Pinot Noir, but in our family we always had places with Pinot Noir. So it's just going back to what we had before, and the most important thing is that our terroir can give a real red Pinot Noir wine with a good concentration, and in the same time with silkiness and finesse in the tannins and in the wine, because Pinot Noir is with finesse.
And of course you touch upon a very important subject there, that just because you want to make a red Alsatian wine or a red Pinot Noir, maybe you're not able to, because you have to have the right soil and the right exposure. And when we walked in the vineyards just a moment ago, we saw the almost like a terra rossa, the red soil, and how that was important also to the Pinot Noir, of course. Very interesting. Now we're going to try to taste some of your Rieslings. We are tasting it from the, and maybe you have to help me with the name, but Clos
Landelin.
Landelin.
Clos Saint-Landelin. So Clos means surrounded by walls because it's a single vineyard.
So one of the few clos in Alsace.
And it's really a very old clos in Alsace because it was already a vineyard in the Middle Age. So thank you. So in the 12th century, it was already a vineyard known as the Clos Saint-Landelin.
Okay, so it goes back a long way.
Yeah.
Now, of course, Riesling, you have to talk about Riesling when you're in Alsace. It's one of the big things. It's also one of the big things in Denmark. It's one of the most known white grape varieties in all the world. It's hugely respected. Most commonly known, of course, for its high acid and also the complexity that it gains over the years. Your personal relationship with Riesling, do you drink Riesling from other places around the world? Have you seen some good things around the world, or are you mostly...
No, we drink first the Riesling of other producers in Alsace, of course. We really enjoy the dry style of Riesling with nice minerality, but we also taste Riesling from Germany, from Moselle, a little bit from Austria, but we are interested in tasting them from all over the world, even if it's sometimes difficult to find foreign Riesling in France and in Alsace, but each time when we travel we take the opportunity to taste from other countries.
I guess also just to get inspired, sometimes you can look outside and see some, and it's hugely popular in Denmark, and all the wine bars, especially in Copenhagen. Riesling for Alsace, Rheingau Rheinhessen in Germany, Switzerland, Austria. We have a lot of Riesling right now, so it's very popular.
It's a very nice grape because it's reflecting the terroir. So it's more. It's like a Chardonnay that can be different from the terroir where it comes from. Riesling is the same, and only speaking about Alsace, we have granitic soil, we have organic soil, and here we have clay and limestone. So the Riesling have different image in all these different style of terroir.
Exactly, it gets influenced by the type of soil that is in, of course, and Riesling is a good, we like to say it's a good messenger or carrier of terroir. It's a good way to, Great, well, let's try 2010 as a vintage. What could you say about that? It's good, bad?
It's a super vintage. If we can have it each year, we take it. The only problem is that it if it's a problem, was low in yield, so that means that was a small production 2010, but it's very high quality because of the high acidity. So all the wines from 2010 have a very good backbone with the acidity, and in the same time here in this wine you also have the minerality, almost the saltiness, and the saltiness that you can feel in mouth at the end of the mouth. So it's really a good combination of the fruitiness that you can have in nose with the citrus fruits, the tangerine skin, and this minerality. So it's not today, it's not what we call petrol nose because it's on the fruit, but you have, when you have it in mouth, a touch of like if you have stones in your mouth.
I think, of course, you're correct that it does have a lovely, like almost citrus peel, lemon peel characteristic, and a lot of minerality, high acid, which I love, and when it dries out on the tongue you get a bit of this, a little bit saltiness, which is great to see. And I do see, it's great now young, if you prefer a very fresh, high acidity Riesling, I would recommend to drink it now, but I can definitely see the potential in this for keeping up to 10, 15, 20 years perhaps, and see the complexity and depth evolve over time. This is a huge Riesling. This is a big Riesling. It's not big in like weight, or it's not bombastic in that way, but it's intense and you feel a lot of energy in it.
Energy and good length in the wine.
Certainly, a long finish.
Even after drinking it, you have it in mouth for a very long time.
Very much so. All right. Let's move on to 2004, which was a different year, of course, but also it made a totally different wine. Which was also the reason why we chose to show you these two wines, because they are so different, but still from the exact same vineyard. So
So 2004 was a vintage where we had a lot of everything. During the spring and summer, it was a lot of leaves. The vineyard was growing fast. And even during harvest for the potential in the grapes we had lots of sugar, and it's true that it was a vintage with high sugarness in the wines, high maturity when we harvested the grapes. So it gives the wine with a different feeling because it was more sweet wines, and even in the beginning when we had this wine we realized it was it was really a full wine, and we wanted it to keep it for almost 10 years, and we sell it today also because it was interesting to see with the aging that the sugarness is melted with the wine.
Exactly, that's what you told me earlier, that's the reason you have kept it also for so long. But would you, now looking back, would you have chosen to harvest earlier to maybe get a more classic Mure Riesling?
We would harvest early. We have to speak about the global warming, because the last 10 years, 15 years, we have really seen some changes in the weather with the global warming. That means that we have to harvest early. My grandparents used to harvest to begin in October, beginning of October, and now the last 5 years, 1 year every 2 years, we had to harvest to begin in August, end of August, or really beginning of September.
So you can really see a consistent change, not just from like a single year, but in total you're harvesting earlier and earlier.
Yeah. Even if this year, 2013, we had a long winter and a long and rainy spring and cold spring, but the average is really that we have more maturity.
Wow.
And so in 2004 we were maybe not conscious of that.
Conscious of it, yeah.
Of that, and everything was going very fast during harvest, and maybe we didn't harvest at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if we have the same grapes, the same weather condition, I think we would do something else.
Yes, either house earlier or maybe wait a little bit longer and then maybe vandage study.
Yeah, if the condition is okay and the weather during harvest.
Now, as you can see, of course, a totally different color, much more deep yellow gold, and on the nose also a totally different nose, bouquet, almost a bit nutty and almost a bit like mushroomy, a bit of truffle. I almost get.
Yeah, because in this wine we had a little bit of botrytis, so noble rot, in this wine, and it gives these aromas of truffle that you can smell.
Totally
and
different.
We also have
huge
fruit, like maybe some, also again some candied orange skin.
Certainly, yeah.
But it's true that we don't have the same acidity as in 2010. It's something really more round in mouth. You don't drink it with the same dishes.
Yeah, again, two completely different wines. You start to get a little bit of this kerosene petroleum thing that we love from a more mature Riesling, especially in the finish. Still, you have the acidity to keep it balanced, so it's not like it's without acidity. It certainly is there, but a completely different wine, which is just amazing to see how the same vineyard can produce both quality wines but totally different wines. So I thought it was very interesting. And also just to say, Riesling is not something that you have to drink immediately. Anyway, good Riesling is not something you have to drink when it's young. Good Riesling can keep. Of course, you have to look at the year, what the producer recommends, but usually I would say that a mature Riesling can be a much more complex experience than a younger Riesling. So, what's your thought about that? How would you recommend to keep this?
Oh, it is the 2010. You can keep it 20 years, 30 years without problem. Especially Clos Saint-Lamblin is a vineyard where the wines can age. We still have in cellar the wines from 1945 because it was end of World War. So my grandparents, as a memory, they have kept a lot of bottles, and it's bottles that you can still drink and still enjoy.
Yeah, and I think that's the amazing thing about Riesling. Great. I think that's very interesting to taste, and also very interesting to visit your vineyard here. Maybe just some finishing questions. When you're not drinking Alsatian wine, what are you drinking then? Do you have any favorite spots around the world where you like to drink wine from?
You mean
just
outside,
personally? Yeah.
Outside Alsace?
Exactly. Yes.
To pick one is not easy.
And if there are several, just
because what I like is the diversity. I like that in wines you can have so many different styles of wines. So I always enjoy Burgundy wines, but what I like is to find to discover new wines.
So continually you are always tasting from different spots.
And it depending of the time of the year. So I cannot choose wine because I also like the Rhone Valley. I like Italian wine.
What about if you had to just mention one area, one type of wine outside Europe? What would that be?
Outside Europe?
In the New World.
In the New World. That's more difficult for me to say because I don't know them enough. Maybe California wines.
Pinot or Cabernet or...
Oh no, so maybe more Cabernet, so to be real strong Californian wines. Great.
Well, thank you very much for seeing us and thank you very much for being on Winefactory.
Thank you very much.